Donald Trump held a cabinet meeting on Tuesday that did not go well for anyone involved for multiple different reasons that I will talk about in some later segments today. But first and foremost, we have to address the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room at that cabinet meeting was, of course, Jeffrey Epstein. The Trump administration has been under fire this week, mostly from their own side, for coming out Monday and saying, hey, by the way, we've been lying to you for literally years about there being an Epstein client list. No such thing exists. So we're not releasing anything. Please shut up and go away. Now, those weren't their exact words, but that is essentially the message they sent out. So a reporter decided to ask Pam Bondi, the attorney general who was at the cabinet meeting, what's going on? Why did you tell us there was a client list and now you're telling us there's not? But before Bondi could even answer that question, Donald Trump went completely off the rails, cut her off as she was trying to open her mouth, and went ballistic over that question about Jeffrey Epstein. We'll show you that clip in just a minute, but first a quick word from today's video sponsor. For weeks now, all we've heard is how Trump's beautiful bill will slash Medicaid. But almost nobody is talking about what his MAGA loyalists slipped into this bill. Go to ground.news/Farron to see how they're trying to block judges from enforcing court orders unless you pay a bond first. Highly credible sources warn most Americans can't actually afford to do this. So if this bill passes and Trump violates the law, it wouldn't even matter. This is the GOP's flood the zone strategy. Distract us with headlines and bury the real power grab. And it's why I think ground news is the best tool to expose these blind spots before it's too late. My partners built the only app and website pulling in news from across the globe, then breaking down each source's bias, credibility, and the stories the right tries to bury. And considering most people take the first headline they see as fact, if you're reading the news somewhere else, their browser extension will flag the source's bias and link other credible reports so you can verify the information. Ground news is a better version of how we're already staying informed. So I got my viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan I've been using. That's $5 per month when you go to ground.news/Farron, scan my QR code, or click the link in the description. With at least another 4 years of this, they're counting on you to be distracted. This app is how you stay focused.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Boy, Trump was angry, right? That's one of those moments that's basically tell me you're on the Epstein list without saying you're on the Epstein list. That's what I took away from that. Like, you don't get defensive about a thing unless you're involved in the thing. There were very mature and professional ways that Donald Trump could have handled that. But instead, he tried to tell everybody, like, this is so disgusting. You're desecrating all the people that have died in Texas. Why are you asking about Epstein when there's much bigger issues in the world? Now, keep in mind, at one point in this meeting, Donald Trump went totally off the rails and started talking about how he decorated the cabinet room. So don't even attempt to change the subject by claiming the reporters are the ones desecrating the memory of those lost in the Texas floods, when you started talking about stealing clocks from Marco Rubio and redecorating the cabinet room. You also change the subject frequently because you're a crazy lunatic. But on the Epstein stuff, Donald Trump seemed especially agitated. And I think we all know why. We don't even have to say it. Everybody thinks it. And at this point, a lot of people feel that those thoughts are confirmed. And while we'll never have firm confirmation about whether or not Donald Trump participated in any of the events with Epstein and the other pervs, a lot of us already think that he did, right? We have those opinions, and that is kind of what we all think. And I think a lot of MAGA is starting to think that as well. That is why Donald Trump is so defensive, and that is why, of course, we're not getting anything released from these files. But then eventually, after Donald Trump jumped in and tried to save Pam Bondi, he did ask her, right, like, Pam, do you want to say anything? And she did. And it didn't help anything, because Pam Bondi, also pissed off, said, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with JFK and MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. And then she rambled for a minute and said, and that's it on Epstein. So that's it? It's just over? Nobody gets to ask another question? Nobody gets to ask Donald Trump why he used to party with Jeff Epstein, why he gave that interview a couple decades ago saying like, hey, he's a fun guy. I heard he likes him young, even younger than me. Isn't that an implication, by the way, because Trump said that on the record? Isn't that an implication that Donald Trump knew that this guy was engaging in criminal activity and didn't report it? That would almost make you an accomplice at that point. If you knew that was happening, which you implied to the magazine you knew that, and you didn't report it, you therefore face some kind of liability. I know, I understand, obviously, a statute of limitations probably applies to this, so you couldn't necessarily sue him or prosecute him for it, but a lot of states, of course, have lifted statutes of limitations for issues such as this. So, I don't know. If you're a victim of Epstein and you're, wanting to take on Trump, I think you've got very clear legal grounds to do that, depending on the statute of limitations, where you are. So I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility. Trump made it clear he kind of knew what was going on, and taking him to trial for those comments he made a couple decades ago might be the only way we find out anything about Epstein. What I love about the whole Epstein thing too, though, by the way, is the fact that there's also, because there's that missing minute in the tape. So there's a lot of memes and AI videos going around right now showing Hillary Clinton being the one to walk into the cell, which is the dumbest thing in the world. Like all these MAGA freaks making these AI fakes and all that and the memes. It's like, why would Hillary Clinton do that? Because she didn't want to get it. Like Hillary Clinton's not an Epstein client. Everybody knew Bill Clinton was. That's an open secret at this point, kind of like Donald Trump. By the way, Hillary Clinton wasn't even in power when Epstein was in that jail. Trump was. Bill Barr was the attorney general. And there are reports that Bill Barr went to that jail within a couple days of Epstein no longer being alive. So, I love how you guys are trying to be like, the Democrats did this. The Democrats had no power. It was all Trump. It's always been Trump. From the beginning, from the videos that we have from the 90s and early 2000s, from his first administration, when Epstein became no longer among the living, to right now, when they're refusing to release any of the files. It has been Trump all along, you MAGA lunatics. We've been telling you. But you guys had to insist, no, somehow it's the Clintons. No. You can't even pretend that anymore. It's Trump, and it always has been. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.